If you've been following Japanese politics recently, you would have seen the rise of Sanseito, a right-wing populist party that is advocating Japanese first and tighter regulation of foreigners. So I went around asking my non-Japanese colleagues what they thought of the party and its rise. Here's what they had to say.
It's too early to make final judgments on what the surge in votes for Sanseito means. But the question of what role non-Japanese should play in Japan's economy needs to be discussed.
What do I think about the outcome of the recent upper house election? Well, I think it is an awakening moment for Japan.
I think it is understandable that many Japanese people are angry with stubbornly high prices, with low real wage growth, and I also think it is understandable that many Japanese are frustrated with over-tourism and the sudden surge of foreign residents living in Japan. But I don't think it makes sense to blame foreign residents on Japan's economic problem.
First and foremost, this election was about the economy and inflation. In one exit poll, just 6% of respondents said that their top issue was policies relating to foreign nationals.
The ruling coalition has been struggling to contain rising inflation, depreciating yen, and put up a strong front in response to US President Donald Trump's tariff, and as well as to China's repeated intrusion into Japan's water. So the Sanseito probably saw an opportunity to fill in the gap by peddling ambitious manifesto, even if some of the promises are not economically viable.
In Japanese politics, there's a history of small parties arising very quickly and then disappearing just as soon as they arrived. Sanseito, with its roots in COVID-19 conspiracy theories, could easily fit that pattern. But the question for foreign nationals was whether other political parties are going to adopt similar rhetoric and policies. Already, we've seen the Democratic Party for the People criticized over xenophobic language in its manifesto, which it subsequently changed. But on the other hand, we've just had a statement from the National Governors Association urging the introduction of policies that will make Japan more welcoming to immigrants.
I think it is quite ironic, especially considering that a growing number of Japanese companies actually have come to countries like Indonesia, India, and Vietnam to recruit workers from these countries because of the aging population and shrinking workforce in Japan.
Well, do I feel threatened? Of course not, because I believe a majority of the Japanese population are rational-minded people.
We also ran an online survey on this topic aimed towards foreign residents in Japan and received over 500 responses in 24 hours. So thank you very much for all of you who responded. Now, this is the internet, and we are mindful that this is only a select few out of the millions of foreigners living in Japan. But I thought some of the comments were quite interesting, so I'll just introduce them to you right now. The overwhelming majority of the responses were of concern or unease, drawing parallels between America's MAGA movement and the rise of far-right parties in Europe. One comment said, "I think it's horrible and makes every single one of us uncomfortable and feel very ill at ease." Another said, "Disenchanted. I'm aware of the conservative side of Japan that was reluctant to accepting more foreigners has always existed as long as I've lived here, but to see this move to the far right and for these ideas to be embraced by more people is disconcerting." But there were a few that welcomed the shaking up of Japanese politics. One said, "I've lived here for 20 years and it's nice to see that Japan finally has a generation who is actually interested in politics and wants their governments to address the issues they face." So, what do you think?